Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Can I refresh your memory? If you check back in this video, on Thursday, I did an analysis and did mention to you that Raila Odinga was calling for a crisis meeting with the ODM Supremo so that they can chart their way forward post AUC elections. Now, I told you that that meeting will be convened, and that meeting was actually a crisis meeting because of several factors that had emerged. On that Thursday, Odinga, Kisumu Senator, and the ODM Secretary General appeared in a Citizen TV interview, and Odinga spoke vividly that ODM was on its way to be consumed by UDA in some sort of coalition agreement.
That the way we are going in 2027 is support President Ruto for a second term. ODM will be a major player. I think the coalition agreement may include a possibility of having a deputy president from ODM. I think then we can have position shared between ODM and UDA for 2027.
What happens?
And that will be working. That will be Professor Kithure Kindiki, of course, is squarely in government. I think that will be a negotiation that will happen at the point, because there are various. Government is big, Trevor, and there'll be arrangements that will work around, and they can deal with.
So who in ODM now that you're in the prediction mode?
No. Let me tell you this: 2027 is a different ballgame. UDA, ODM will form a coalition. They'll agree on the structure. The structure will include a cabinet secretary, a prime cabinet secretary, of course, and a chief cabinet secretary. All the framework will ensure that there's inclusivity. But there's one possibility, Trevor, that I will also speak to this morning.
This did not sit well with the ODM leaders. I don't work within ODM party, so don't ask me how did I know. I knew because the conveners of that meeting leaked it, and they had really raised concerns about it. Today, that meeting was actually convened by none other than Anyang' Nyong'o, the Kisumu governor. The Kisumu governor attended the meeting Central Management Committee, attended by the interim PL party leader, Secretary General Sifuna, deputy party leaders, deputy party leader, that is Osotsi, Vihiga Senator, and the chairperson of the party, Gladys Wanga, and you can also see Rosa Buyu there. Now, that team read a statement, and that statement really, let me say, that statement conforms with the Sifuna Orengo Nyong'o camp. I told you in ODM there are two camps, two main camps. There is the camp led by Anyang' Nyong'o, Orengo, Sifuna, Babu Owino. That team believes that ODM must retain its identity by facing off the president, or rather facing off oppressive politics by the current regime. There is another team that is led by Junet, that is having Junet Opondo-Kaluma, my MP at Tandi, and several others, who believe that the bread-based thing is the best thing that has happened in this country since independence. And ODM needs to support William Ruto fully. So I want you to read Sifuna's statement, to listen to Sifuna's statement. He has mentioned clearly that ODM must maintain its position. And this statement is also joining the discourse that it is time for IBC to be constituted.
We call on all our members to remember that ODM remains a distinct political party in competition with all others to win power by democratic means. To this end, we must all be guarded in pronouncements on the future of the party, and particularly refrain from beating the drums of our competitors. We must continue to strengthen ourselves in preparation for the battles ahead. The party further wishes to express concern over the delays in constitution of the IEBC selection panel that has meant denial of representation for many Kenyans in parliament. ODM as a party is one of the most affected by this continued state of affairs. We are down 3 members in the National Assembly alone, with pending by-elections in Ugunja, Magarini, and 1 nominated member, all which were held by ODM. We are aware there are court orders in place stopping the empanelment and want to urge the judiciary to expedite the resolution of these cases as a matter of national urgency. The by-elections aside, the new commissioners will require time to settle in and begin preparations for the 2027 general election. There is also the question of boundary review, and we feel as a party that we are running the risk of getting into a very serious constitutional crisis. I thank you. That is the end of the statement.
Now, Sifuna has picked one of the things that we said yesterday, that it is not right for ODM party just to get into it that way. Body language experts are saying, when you look at the faces of the leaders in that press briefing, all is not well. The body language of Sifuna, Nyong'o, and the rest during that press briefing, all is not well. That is not one of those papers. That is not one of those press briefings they normally come out and say, we just want. We just want. That is not it. There is a problem in the paradise. And I believe that all is really not going to work out well. Now, some little corridor talks whisper that during the recent appointments, December appointments, now reshuffle of the PSS, there have been some names that have been lined up for interviews to be picked as the PSS. And ODM is reading malice that they're being shortchanged on that ground. So, hiyo ni pole pole, hiyo ni bado tunagather. When we get tangible, we'll come up with full details. But of course, that is part of it. Now, you will understand and you will know that in 2025 January, Kenya Kwanza is back in the campaign trail with the rhetoric asking hustlers very funny questions. Mnataka barabara ama mtaki? Mnataka broad based ama mtaki? Mnataka sijui maji ama mtaki? They're back with those questions. Now, in that campaign trail, the president is there with Kipchumba Murkomen and his Kalenjin men. Raila's team are not visible. Understand that there have been attempts that before this election, ODM is supposed to get into some coalition agreement with UDA. It is not now a secret. If you ask serious fellows in ODM, that attempt has been there. Formal meetings have been requested so that that discussion can be on the table. But the people within the party that are supposed to discuss that are so lukewarm. ODM is maintaining its stand against the president. But all is not well. And all is not well because of these things I want us to look at. During the Rift Valley, the North Rift tour, they tried to reach out to several ODM leaders, but that they did not get. And the Ruto only got Tindi Mwale, the Butere member of parliament, who is there with the president in the North Rift. So that is something that you need to need. That's one of the observations going on, that ODM is slowly pulling out and are showing signs of divorce. Raila Odinga, this is very exclusive by the way. Do you know that Raila Odinga did not attend the Ghana inauguration event while it had been planned earlier that Raila would make an appearance in that ceremony, because he was able to meet the ECOWAS bloc. That is West Africa, where the ECOWAS is based. So Raila campaign team had mapped out the regional blocks as part of the campaign, the building, the campaign units. The continental campaign units, apart from making country visits, Raila made a visit to Ghana. He made a visit to West Africa. And his campaign team were also trying to reach out to the leadership of ECOWAS. And that was the place to do that lobbying in Ghana. So Raila's team read a bit of compromise on the fact that, yes, and after realizing that that was a concern, that is why you saw Gladys Wanga in that trip. Gladys Wanga was in that trip to try to confirm to Raila team that, I went there. So, and him and his campaign team not able to map out and target the ECOWAS on those campaigns is something that the diplomatic analysts around Raila's AUC bid are raising questions. Are raising questions of the national commitment on that AUC cause. All that is not well. Remember, after Ghana, the president flew to Angola. He met the new Angola president who took over after the previous one passed on due to cancer. And of course, even he went there with the other leaders who were part of his team. And in speech, while he's saying, I campaigned and Angola made a commitment to support Raila on this and that, but most of that meeting was actually on his position as champion of African Union institutional reforms, the position he took from Kagame. So saying, yes, I'm campaigning for Raila. It doesn't have any paper of Raila's manifesto or what Raila stands for. Or he's never made any meeting with Raila's campaign team or even just think tank so that they can crystallize the message that they need to take out there. 1 month to the big vote, Odinga's team are still struggling to meet the financial burden needed for that campaign. Yes, Odinga has tried to traverse the country. The performance during the debate was super. He really had a good pitch during the AUC debate in Addis Ababa. But even as that is going on, the campaign is supposed to be intense. And the plan was that the cabinet will be roped in. Remember when Uhuru was campaigning for Amina Mohamed for this position in 2016? The cabinet was activated. Now, not so much is going on. Raila is on and off the limelight. Of course, he's been making tremendous efforts to do that. One of the things that was going to be possible, that was really rumored, I think that was in December, that the state will try to reach out to the Djibouti candidate so that Djibouti candidate can step down for Raila. Remember, it is Eastern Africa turn, not East Africa. So Djibouti is part of the Eastern Africa. So far there are 3 candidates, Raila, the Djibouti candidate, and the Madagascar candidate. Now they understand well, the Mauritius one stepped down in support of Raila. So they understand well that if Raila is to face the Madagascar candidate, the strongest opponent is the Djibouti guy. So there was a plan that Kenya would try to put up the best foot to convince the Djibouti candidate to step down for Raila. Now that attempt, no single attempt, has been made on that front. So not so much has been done. Kilgore's meeting with the current chair Musa Faki, Raila was unaware, even though the engagements were made or publicized as campaigning for Raila. But largely, Ruto was talking with the AU chair on his position of the African Union champion for institutional reforms. Kenya Kwanza commitment in the cause is very bleak. That is why I can tell you that all is not well. The faces that you saw issuing that press briefing apart from the local dynamics, local political dynamics, Raila's AU chair fortunes is wrecking ODM in the middle. And so many interests are now playing. But why will he make that U-turn? Why do you think Raila will choose to make the U-turn on that Ruto's happened? You will understand one thing, that Raila spent better part of December at home. He spent better part of December at home. Do you remember him denouncing abductions in Homa Bay and during the Pinyulo festival in Siaya and during the church service in Nyamira? He spent better part of his time in December at home. And the reality, even me, I was at home. The reality is this. Raila base is not embracing that broad-based narrative. Let the MPs are comfortably speaking in TV panels, in the television panel interviews. But when they attend functions, when they attend funerals, weddings, events in Luo Nyanza, no one is talking about those things. They are joining the chorus of, they're not saying, they cannot go public and say Ruto is bad, but they will say, Shai work, that's not helping us. That vaccination, we are not supporting. Abductions, we are not supporting it. So, the Luo MPs, much as someone might want to believe, Raila base, it is not very easy. And in fact, that transition from Raila to Ruto will be more difficult. Remember, the handshake between Raila and Uhuru, at no point did Raila go to tell the voters to vote for Uhuru Kenyatta. Hakukuwa na hiyo. This one, the handshake where Raila has to go to tell my mother back in the village to vote for William Ruto. Hey, forget about it, man. That's one thing they've realized. The second issue is this. The anti-Ruto wave is becoming stronger and stronger. You look at the way the Oscar Sudis are talking with entitlement, the Farah Maalim and the Ichungwans. You say, he is not what is needed for this country. And ODM has realized that it will be suicidal for them. How about if they come out and the country turns against the two? The burden of incumbency that Ruto is having is very huge. And so even ODM support cannot, or rather will not be able to support them. Yes, ODM was able to pull out Raila Mania from the protest. But that Raila Mania from the protest does not vote, does not have very serious vote. They will understand that the shape of coalitions of Ruto Raila, then the other one do not really look good. I saw something during panel interview. Dan Manzo was saying that Kalonzo and Rigathi are going to form a coalition. So the ODM guy that was Odinga was very disturbed and was really profiling that and saying, no, Rigathi is the tribalist. Why do you form a coalition with the tribalist? While himself he's saying of Ruto forming a coalition with Raila. I listened to that debate and I was so really. The other issue, I think, the cabinet snort was a temporary deal. It was temporary deal. Give me cabinet slot so that I stop the protest. And Raila realizes that if things continue this way, he'll be told, take the cabinet slot. Lastly, the AU prospects are not promising for the son of Ajuma. Thank you, guys. I think it will be wise if Raila makes that U-turn. Even if it means dropping out of that race. Kwani, what is so much about it?